Hello, Unit 3. You all will enjoy this one, my students really do, because this is all about something that we do all the time. It's about the world we live in. It's about how we get messages and information in multimodal ways. And multimodal sounds like a really scary term, but it's not. It just means things like text, written text, audio, movement. There's a lot of components to it, but we live in a world where we don't just read textbooks, right? And even people argue that there are a couple of modes involved with that, being language and how it's laid out on the page, which is visual. So you're going to get a chance to that was kind of a wonky introduction, but you're going to get a chance to take the information that you either wrote about in your portrait or that you wrote your feature article about, and then sort of repackage it for a different and very specific audience. And have fun. I've had people do things like Twitter threads, Instagram stories, podcasts, comics. I'll show you a couple of examples, brochures, infographics, all kinds of things. You kind of can let your imagination go berserk on this one. And I have some resources to show you how to do it. But just to back up and say what it is we're doing, again, you're taking information you've already done the research on, so there's no new research involved here. And you're making sure that it goes to a really specific audience, okay? And these audience people, we're sort of limiting you, so you have to really think about what it means to be a member of one of these audiences. And here's one of the 5 audience groups that you get to choose from. 4th graders, City Tech freshmen, New York City Council members, your grandparents or older relatives, activist groups of any sort. I've had people do things that were really fun. The grandparents one, there was a guy, it was in the spring, and he's taking it down now, or I would show it to you. And he was all about the gym and exercise. And what he did was he wrote a brochure for older people who want to get into exercise and kind of think they want to belong to a gym, but the gym is a little intimidating. So it was this really lovely brochure that was directed toward, if you think you're too old for the gym, you're not. You know, it was really nice stuff. I had another student 2 summers ago who did a video essay. It was like a music video, really, and it was about, she was an EMT and so was her husband. And this was early days of COVID, and it became apparent to everybody that our first responders were not being paid very well, to say the least. Like $12 an hour or something ridiculous. And so she made this presentation that was a video to take to the New York City, or send to the New York City Council to explain why they needed to have a raise up to $25 to $30 an hour. And she put this really powerful music behind it. Some of her slides were had text on them, but it was mostly just a music video, and she created this herself using, I think she was using Google Slides or something. You cannot just do a PowerPoint, because PowerPoint is not a genre. It's a way of presenting information. Her genre was a presentation, and so she used a PowerPoint to create her presentation. So those are some of the restrictions you've got. You figure out who the audience is, what information you want to get to them, and the best way to get it to them. All right? So hang on just a second. So you have to use at least 2, words and images, or words and sound. Podcasts are great, and the students of mine that do podcasts, they create a podcast cover, and there's a template for that in Canva, and then they create in the Google Drive, they create a new Google Doc, and they embed that picture, and then they link out to the podcast itself. And if anybody's doing a podcast, let me know and I'll show you how to set that up. It's actually very simple. in a nutshell graph, you upload the MP4 file into the Google Drive, and then you just link it onto your Google page. Hang on just a second. Okay, sorry about that. Let's see if my voice comes back and stays this time. So that's what you're going to be doing. And the thing you have to think about is there's no such thing as a general audience, right? and something that you would make for a 4th grader would not be appropriate for an adult. Or something you would make for an adult would not be appropriate for a 4th grader. Well, let me show you some examples of things that some of my former students have done. This was from the summer. she made an infographic, and again, she used Canva, this really fun infographic for fourth graders about all you need to know in order to go to Mars. Really, really, really fun stuff. Absolutely directed at fourth graders. Everybody in class just loved this thing. It's a very long infographic, but that's what she did with it. And in her artist statement, which I'll show you in a minute, she talked about what she wanted to do in order to get to these kids. Here's another storyboard for fourth graders on the importance of programming. And I think he did this with Storyboard That, but I think there's a link in the class resources page. If there's not, I'll be sure it's over there. And he used this. I have had students use Animagic, Animoto, and something like that to make animated things. Not in the summer. They usually do that in the regular term. Excuse me, because there's more time to do it. But these comics are really good to show. Here's another comic, again, using this one. I know you storyboard that. I'm not sure the other one did. I think it was a more advanced storyboarding program. But this one is all about, he wrote in his feature article was about the importance of having pets. And so he did this to fourth grade students about, why it's important to have a pet and how to go about adopting one. So this is really cute. And the cat ends up in the shelves. Here's some other ones. This one was a brochure. My spring class, I had a bunch of brochures. This one was also to fourth graders about bullying. And again, this template is in Canva, so it lets you set things up. So this is like a threefold brochure. So if you printed this would be one page, and this would be on the back of it. And then you would fold it up, and this is the first thing you'd see. Or this would be the first thing you'd see, right? So she did that one. That was a nice little brochure. And there's another one, if I can find it. Here it is. Now, this student happens to be a graphic designer, and she wrote about graphic design, I think, in her feature article about design. I can't remember what her feature was about, but I think it was about something else. But she went back to her Portrait of a Word, which is all about being part of the graphic design discourse community. And so she designed this brochure for incoming City Tech freshmen. Why should you study graphic design? And so she made this thing. And again, yes, she's a graphic design major, but she put this together using a template from Canva. So you can see all kinds of things that happen with these things. They're really lovely. I've had Twitter threads. He talked about black holes. Just a lot of good stuff. So that's what you're going to be doing, is just letting your creativity go nuts and getting information to one of these groups. Right? And you can use anything. You can do podcasts, you can do video essays, you can do infographics, comics. If you got something else in mind, let me know. One of my students did a really fun podcast this first part of the summer about what it was like to be in basic training, trying to be honest for incoming City Tech freshmen who are interested in going into the service. But it was very positive about it. But it was also hilarious because it was mostly focused on the food, because that's what he wrote his feature article about. So that's the first thing you're going to be doing. Right. And the second part of this assignment is an artist statement, which you will write after you get it done. And the artist statement it's got these three elements to it. You talk about why you chose what you chose, who the audience was, the information you wanted to get across, why you chose the genre you chose, why you chose a presentation as opposed to a comic, right? Which one worked better. And then the third part of it is talk about your process of getting it done. What were the good parts, the bad parts? What do you wish you'd done differently? What if you'd had more time, all the time and space in the world, might it have looked like? So this is really just you talking about your process. So for example, go back to this one. Here's her infographic about Mars. So her artist statement, she had this little backdrop about why she kind of got interested in it, and why she picked kids, why she decided to make an infographic, and then how she went through it. And again, she used Canva for the project because it was simple. So those are the two elements of this thing, right? Is the project and the what I'm trying to say, the artist statement. Okay, so you're going to be graded on Not how good it is, because that's kind of a ridiculous subjective thing, right? Not everybody is a graphic artist like my other student was. But if you do your best, you can even put it up in a Word doc. This one, he just imported this from Storyboard and dropped it in a Google Doc. Right? There's nothing very fancy about it. But it's really about, did you hit your audience? Did you give information to that audience in a way that was appropriate for that audience, right? So that's the most important part of it. It can't be just kind of, haphazard and slapdash. It has to be some thought behind it, but it doesn't have to be professional. Certainly not in the summer. We don't have time for you to go back and tweak it a whole lot. But this was the first half of the summer. So, and she was not a graphic design student by any means. Okay, so just be thoughtful about it, and I'm perfectly happy with it. Now here's the schedule. There are all kinds of stuff on the course resources page about different genres, and they're right here. Okay, I don't think there it is. This is about how to create Instagram stories. I've had some really good Instagram stories. And one student in the spring, she's pulled it down, but it was about baking, and it was directed toward a City Tech incoming freshman. How to survive as a City Tech freshman if you don't cook very well. I had another one do something similar, but it was an Instagram story with a bunch of things and lots of really cool Instagram posts. This is about how to do podcasts. If you want to write a short story, you can, but it's got to have some other stuff in it. You can create a TED Talk. This is how to do Twitter, video essays. All right, so that's one set of information. And here's some. This one's on resources, specifically some programs you can use. If you're going to be doing audio of any sort, Audacity is sort of the go-to for any kind of audio editing, and it is really easy. My students who've done podcasts always use Audacity because they can put music at the beginning of it, or they can put in sound effects and all kinds of stuff, and it's a very simple program to use. Right? This is royalty-free music, and it's hilarious because you can get if you go over to, let's see if it's going to pop up for me today. Royalty-free music. Here's this one. I'm not sure you can hear it, but I can't even hear it. There it is. Again, I'm not sure you can hear it, but if you want music, this is royalty. This is free music, so you don't have to worry about copyright stuff. Right? So that's bin sound. Free sound. These are sound effects. This is the let's see what the sound effect for the day is. Oops, maintenance downtime. Simple computer beat. That's today. Let's see if I can get it to go. Okay, so you can there are tons and tons and tons of piano loops, and you should just search for it, and there's probably you'll find it, right? All kinds of sounds, random sounds. So free sound is really great. These are some more free sound effects and free music. Clip art. If you're looking for images that are copyright free, search creativecommons.org. They'll often send you over to Flickr if you're looking for photos, because Flickr's got lots of good stuff on it. This is all about how to do a podcast. Here's Canva. Animaker is a really nice video creator and it's free. A lot of my students have used this one. Movely, I think it has a free version. There's another animation creator. If you want to play around with animation, you can. Again, if you're going to be editing video, OpenShot and Shotcut are free and pretty simple. If you've got a Mac and you've played around with your Mac and you've done iMovie, then you can obviously edit on iMovie and then upload the file. It's pretty simple. My granddaughter made a whole movie using her very, very old iPad and iMovie, right? And then Screencast-O-Matic is what I'm using to make these things. So there's lots of help over here for helpful sources, and then these are just tutorials and assorted how to use Audacity and stuff like that. All right, so that's what you're doing, and there is a thing to read on Perusall. It's on what multimodal composing is, what it's all about, and it's over here, and it's a pretty simple article. It's fairly long. You don't have to annotate. Not this one. This one's not that long. This one is really will sort of explain multimodality a little bit better. Like, what are the different? There are 5 modes. One of them is visual, text, sound, gestures, right? So just go through here and annotate this one. It'll give you, maybe give you some ideas. I didn't leave a prompt at the end of this one, but it's meant to kind of get you thinking about different ways that you can put information together. So there's that. This one, if you can get this one done by over the weekend, it's great. And then there's a new Padlet. Create a post on the Padlet. Here it comes, da-da-da, and say what you're going to be doing, what's your topic, your intended audience, and the genre you're going to use. And if you got suggestions for people, again, this one is really you all have been doing a great job leaving comments for each other on the Padlet. Just keep it up for this one, because somebody may want to try something that they haven't done before, and you may have some expertise or some knowledge to help them. So this is, be sure to check out each other's project ideas on the Padlet. Get that done by Monday night, so you'll have time to get things done. And then I'll probably put another video lecture up here, although maybe not. Depends on how things are going, Wi-Fi wise in my building. But I'll certainly be updating you on Slack. And then the last, it's due on the Tuesday the 9th, which is the end of the session, or getting toward the end of the session. So it's not due until the very, very end, but in the middle of all of this stuff, you have to be doing your final portfolio and reflection, which is up here. And I think I actually have the dates on here wrong. Here's the final portfolio, just to give you a heads up. It's the revisions of Unit 1 and 2, and then a final, a final reflective essay, which is 1,000 words and is really important. And I was going down here to check on the dates, and I think I have the dates not quite right. Okay. You're going to be finishing up your project and your artist statement at the same time you'll be doing revisions in this final reflection. Okay, so just know that you're going to be kind of multitasking a little bit for this one. The bad part about summer is I don't have a lot of wiggle room for when things are due the final portfolio, because grades are due like 2 days after the end of the term. So, but don't worry about that right now. Right now, all you need to worry about or think about is having fun with this unit. Just go enjoy yourself. Come up with some interesting ideas, and if you have questions, text me on Slack. I'll see if I can actually get Zoom to work next week and have office hours. And stay in touch. Okay, bye.